All right, so I have started recording because there are some individuals that did ask us for the replay. We appreciate everyone for joining us tonight, and we are just super excited to share with you all. You're going to have some different presenters tonight. We're just going to share a little bit perspective on how we started our holistic wellness journeys, as well as share some tips with some of our favorite things that everyone needs to have in their homes and be using on a daily basis. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our first individual that's going to start us off, and that is Dana Mott.
All right, guys, welcome. Again, so glad you guys are here, spending the evening with us. I am excited to kind of start us off because I know for me, just in general, my journey actually started when I was young. Like, I actually had a lot of different health issues and things like that. And so everything comes full circle as an adult in how I approached health and wellness, and especially when it came to being proactive when it came to health, and then once I had children as well. So I am going to go ahead and start by sharing my screen. So we'll go through a few of these slides, and I'll kind of just talk you guys through as I go. So again, welcome. I'm so happy everybody is here. So a few of the oils that we will talk about today, they all are featured in the Premium Starter Kit. So if you are already a current member, you will be familiar with some of the oils that we discuss. If not, we welcome you to really investigate. So me personally, I am a researcher. I pretty much don't believe anything anyone says. I have to prove it to myself first and foremost. And so everybody is different. So whether it's essential oils, prescription medication, peanut butter, or shampoo, there are products that work better for some than others. If you try one and you don't feel it gave you the results you hoped for, try another one. This is why it's actually super important to try a few oils when you get started. Sometimes it's nice to have a sample, one or two, but the reality is that particular oil might not be the specific oil that you needed for your body. So it's important that you have a variety to try from and figure out and pinpoint what is going to be best for you. Advocate for your own health. So not all oils are created equal. I think this is super important because many times people will say, well, I get my oils from Whole Foods, or I get my oils from Target, or I have oils here and there. And I was just like you. So before I started my journey with Young Living, I was using essential oils. So at the spas and salons I worked for, I'm an esthetician of 15 years. I was the girl that everybody came to when they wanted to know what oils to mix for what. So a lot of the massage therapists would have different clients that had different things going on, whether it was muscular or skeletal. And I would be the one that told them, mix this oil with that oil. So in my cabinets where most people would have medication, I had oils because for me, I already understood somewhat of a holistic lifestyle. I was that weird person making my own laundry detergent and things like that. And so I want you to really, again, this website, seedtoseal.com, look it up because this is going to tell you exactly what makes Young Living different. It is their seed to seal process. They are the world leaders in essential oils. They have over 20 years in the industry, actually just celebrated their 25th anniversary last year. They test on site as well as third-party labs. Seed to seal, what is that exactly? So right down from the seeds that they put into the soil, they actually pay attention to the nutrient levels, everything that's in that soil, because really your plant is only as good as the soil that you are harvesting. Many times people will say things like organic. Well, Young Living goes beyond organic. they make sure that there's no pesticides or herbicides in 50 years from the time they use that land. So in order to classify yourself as organic, you only have to have not had pesticides in 7 years. So again, when we talk about standards, Young Living actually sets the standards. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, my husband is cooking and it's smoky. And the next step in that seed to seal process that is super, super crucial is distillation. So distillation is so important because this is going to be the process of how the oil is extracted from either that fruit, that herb, that shrub, or wherever it comes from. And this is important because in this process, a lot of times you can keep the beautiful smell and scent of a plant or oil, but you won't have the medicinal benefits. This is the place where a lot of companies, they cut corners because it's cheaper and it's easier, and they might extract it too high, which is gonna, just like we know if you microwave something, like it obviously doesn't have the same nutrients as if you just picked it from the plant, right? So same thing with oils. Sometimes if they're heated up too much, they're gonna lose their properties. And so then you have an oil that smells good, but it has no medicinal benefits. So that lavender that you're looking for relaxation, well, sometimes it'll relax you and sometimes you might not get consistent results with it. It's important that it's pure. The next step in that process is testing. So Young Living does in-home testing. They actually have, I believe it's over 300 scientists that are hired in.
I'm talking and stuff though. You're not going to be
hired in specifically to test to ensure the quality of each and every oil batch that is available. Excuse me. If a batch does not qualify as up to Young Living standards, they actually will throw and scrap the whole batch. They will not bottle it. They will not sell it to you. And thus, a lot of times when we say, well, why is the price tag the way it is? So for me, in the beginning, I was like, oh, this price tag is just that way because they have to pay their distributors. Well, that's not true. The price tag is the way it is because of the extensive processes they go through in order to ensure that they are bringing no harm to you and your family and that you have the purest and highest quality. The next step in that process is going to be your seal. So this is super, super important. And if anybody has a bottle on hand near them, I want you to grab your bottle and I want you to look on the side of your bottle. And you will notice on each and every bottle, there is a barcode and then there is a number. So you'll notice it has some type of little skew with numbers. This is your lot number for each and every oil. So your oil can actually be traced back to the exact batch in which that it came from. So let's say you had an oil and it just didn't smell right to you. You're like, it seems weird. I don't think this is actually, I have cedarwood in my hand, cedarwood. You could call Young Living and they could trace your batch and they could tell you exactly when it was distilled, where it was distilled, and when it was shipped out. And that is super, super important. And this is why you're never going to get your oils from Amazon. You're not even going to get your oils from like me or whoever invited you here. You're going to get your oils directly from Young Living because you're going to be sure that it is as pure and safe for you. So as we keep going, again, we're going to talk very specifically about a few different oils. How do you use essential oils? So if you are new to essential oils, most everyone knows aromatic, right? They think of oils, they think of the smell. They know that you can put it in a diffuser and it has an amazing aroma. So that is one way that you can use the oils. This is a very powerful way to use it when you're trying to connect with your emotions, because the only way to get to your olfactory and that seat of the emotions is through your sense of smell. And so there's a lot of powerful things that can happen when you diffuse. I know for me, when my kids are homeschooling, I like to diffuse in the basement. we diffuse throughout our homes. Pretty much almost every room has a diffuser and something going, because it's gonna have such a powerful effect over your home, your emotions. It also, all of Young Living diffusers are also humidifiers and oxygenators and optimizers. And so it's also gonna help to purify the air. So I liken it to if maybe you're a person that loves plants, right? So why do we bring plants in our homes? Because it oxygenates and it cleanses and cleans out the air. Well, that's the same thing your diffuser is going to do. So you want to make sure you have multiple ones going throughout your home. The second way that you're going to use your essential oils is topically. So you can put them directly on your skin. You can use a carrier oil. You can put them in roller balls. I love carrying my oils with me. I will say for new oilers, start slow. You want to see how your body reacts to certain oils. When it comes to oils, because they oxygenate and purify, you actually can have where your body starts detoxing. So sometimes people will have where maybe their skin, it's trying to pull out toxins, and it can look like a little irritation. So you want to start slow. Use a carrier oil like olive oil, coconut oil, sunflower oil, something that's going to carry that essential oil in. The nice thing to remember with essential oils is they don't have the proteins. So there's a lot of things that you may be ordinarily allergic to, but with the essential oil, you won't have the same similar sensitivity to it. So the final way I want to talk about, and this one is, again, what sets Young Living apart, because most companies will tell you, you can smell an oil, you can put it on your skin, but don't ever ingest an oil, right? That's not true with Young Living. And the reason it's not true with Young Living is because it is pure. So I like to liken it to, if you were in nature and you had a lemon, right? You could eat every single piece of the lemon and you would be fine. Now, granted, we don't walk around eating lemon peels, but there are actual nutrient benefits in the peel. And when we puree, we actually puree all of it because it has nutrients in it and it is beneficial. So the same thing, if in nature you should be able to eat it, if it's pure, like the company says, then you should also be able to ingest that particular oil. So what you'll notice, especially in the Premium Starter Kit, is that there are white labeled oils. The white labeled oils actually have been certified by the FDA, vitality, that can be taken in internally. Now, the reason Young Living chose to do that is because they wanted to comply with the FDA. So I want to let you know that the oil that is in the solid labels and the oils that are in the white labels are the exact same oil. They come through the same place, but they just get different labels slapped on it so that they can be compliant when it comes to the FDA. So with that, I want to tell you just a little bit about my journey, how I got started. And again, because I was already using oils, for me, it was a slow process. So I wasn't ready to just jump right in as soon as my sister Tashina introduced me. In fact, I was super skeptical when she told me. So I remember she invited me to her first party. I was super late. At that time, mentally, I was in a space where I had just started working again. I had been on bed rest with my son for 5 months, so we had no income. So financially, I was destitute. Emotionally, I was spent. My son was not sleeping through the night. He was very colicky. When he came out, he had really bad eczema, to the point like his skin was darker than normal, and there was a lot of places on his body that looked more like a snake than like that pretty beautiful baby skin. And so as a mother, like I couldn't even begin to start looking at some little bottles as being a way out of the situation that I was in at the time. So for me, I had to start slow. And so the first sample that she gave me was Peace and Calming. And every single night, because I understood how the body detoxes, I would give my children Epsom salt baths. Epsom salt helps to pull out impurities. And so what I decided that night when I went home with this sample of Peace and Calming, as I was going to put it in his bath water. So I added just a drop to the Epsom salt. I spread it throughout his bath water. I'm in the bathroom brushing my teeth, getting ready, and he's splashing, 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 happy little baby. And all of a sudden, his splashes stop. And at first, I'm like, oh my goodness, my baby drowned. What happened? And I turn around, and his little head is nodding. And I'm like, what is going on? Well, for me, that was the first night he had ever slept through the night since he was born. And by this time, I would say he was about a year, a little older. And as any good skeptic, I had to, of course, test this out a few more times. So I used that sample until it ran out. So the next night I used it, same thing happened. He slept through the night. The next night I used it, same thing happened. He slept through the night. So I want to be very clear. Peace and Calming did not clear up his eczema. Peace and Calming did not make him no longer asthmatic and me need to give him breathing treatments. But what Peace and Calming did was it, for the first time, made me realize that there might be solutions bigger than what I was told from the doctor, bigger than what I was told from the pediatrician, bigger than what I was told from everybody that told me it's normal. It's normal for him to have asthma. It's normal for him to have skin conditions. He'll grow out of that. I wasn't okay with that. I didn't want to keep pumping my child with steroids from the breathing treatment. I wanted to find another way. And so for me, what Young Living did was it opened my eyes to asking the question and being able to say, you know what, I'm going to look for what is going to be the best. The next oil I want to talk about is Valor. So Valor is one of my absolute favorite blends. I meant to find this picture. I forgot. I told Jocelyn I was going to find this picture and I forgot. But so I have a picture of me and I'm laying down and by my head, I have like 6 bottles of Valor. And the reason I had so many bottles of Valor is because this was an oil that I could not people without Valor. If you know me very well, I am a pretty good one-on-one person, but I get overwhelmed in like large group settings, or I get overwhelmed when normally I have to talk in front of people. And in fact, I will even say when I first started with Young Living, I remember having parties and like running away, literally. Like I remember hiding in my son's room, like maybe they'll just teach the class without me, or maybe everybody will just go home. I hope they go home, right? But Valor was the one blend that would ground me. It would calm my anxious thoughts. It would calm my nerves. And so that I could be able to conquer some of those things. And so I would put it in a diffuser necklace. I would carry it around with me. And this really was, for me, my liquid courage. So I think now I'm going to pass the baton. Miss Jocelyn, were you ready to go?
I'm ready. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. Hi. So I'm starting with Stress Away. Everyone has like a reason, like some sort of discomfort, something that leads them to Young Living. And mine was stress. I was really stressed out, and it was like my last year of grad school. And I was just tense, like all the time. My attitude wasn't nice anymore. And I was just getting on everyone's nerves. And I don't even remember how I knew that essential oils had some sort of like ability to calm people down and relieve stress. But I did. Like I'd heard enough about them to know that that was an option. And so I went to Amazon, like we usually do for things, and I found I found something that was labeled for stress relief. It did a little bit for me, but it did not do enough that made me repurchase like that particular item. And I remember like my graduation was on like the 2nd of May or something. And my last exam was on the 1st. And by that time I had like realized that I needed like extra help. And so I had used some money that my older brother had given me for graduation and purchased my kit like right before my exams. And Stress Away, I used it the first month. And if you know about oils, you know that if you have to use it a lot to have to repurchase like the very next month. But I remember applying it and just feeling relaxed. And I remember like asking myself whether it was placebo, because even though I kind of believed it, I also wanted to understand, and no one could really explain at the time to me like the connection between like our sense of smell and the brain and all those things. And so I didn't know enough to know like how it worked, but I could not deny that I felt so much better, like just more relaxed after applying it. And so after I was, finally like not wound completely up, I needed to study. And that's where the very next oil comes in, which is frankincense. That's the very next oil that we're going to talk. So I was calm. Now I was calm, but I still like needed to be able to focus. And I remember one of my friends, like I was just ranting and raving about how frankincense helped me focus. It just made me feel really grounded. And she was like, that's a real strong smell just to put on people. Though that was her exact wording. Like, that's a real strong smell. And I didn't even know like that. I knew that it didn't smell like perfume, but however it smelled, I did not care. I just knew that I could study and I could focus and I could have a seat and just not, have like my thoughts racing all over the place the way that they were before. And so that was like another oil that made me feel like, okay, there's actually something to this. Those people aren't crazy. Like, these help me. And my actual, like what led me to purchase my kit, because I remember looking at prices and pricing them individually and just feeling like $13 for this oil. And I've been getting bottles of oil 2-3 times this size from Whole Foods for half that price. Like, I'm very frugal. I like things, but I also don't like to spend like more than is necessary. And so I was purchasing a brand from Whole Foods, a brand of peppermint from Whole Foods. And it was a big, huge bottle. And I was drinking it. I was putting it in tea. I was putting it in tea for people that I love. I was feeding it to everyone, my mother, my dad, everybody, anybody who would drink it. I was giving them peppermint tea. Then one day, I looked at the bottle and I noticed that it said not for internal use. And so I remember telling my dad, well, it says that we're actually not supposed to drink it. But by this time he enjoyed it as well. But when I told him we weren't actually supposed to drink it, I remember his face. And I remember feeling like I had done something wrong by giving him like, the peppermint oil. But long and short of it, I went back to Whole Foods. I asked the representative at Whole Foods, whoever is in a particular area of the store, they've been sent to special training to be able to answer our questions when we, come in there. And so I asked her about peppermint oil and whether I could consume it. And she told me peppermint oil comes from a plant. And if you can eat the leaf of a plant, of a peppermint leaf, if you can eat a peppermint leaf, then you can take this oil. Don't let those people have you out there paying twice the amount for not even half the amount of oil. She said, you can definitely drink this. you can consume this, it's fine. And so I did for like a whole month. And after like a month, I noticed that I was getting migraines, and that's not normal for me to have a headache. And so like a part of my morning routine, at this time I was like more health conscious. I would drink a green smoothie, and I would have like green tea in this stainless steel mug, and I would drop the peppermint oil in the mug, and I noticed that the tea bags would disintegrate. So that was kind of concerning, like that, because I would be drinking like the actual leaves. So that was interesting. And then the headache started, and so I just examined my habits, and the only thing that I had been doing that was new was drinking the peppermint oil that was marked for not for internal use. And so then I stopped, and miraculously, so did the headaches. They stopped as well. And I think I got my kit like a week or two later, because it finally registered for me. Like, I know I don't want to spend, I don't want to buy these oils individually. I want peppermint, I want lemon. I didn't know about frankincense and Stress Away at the time, but I knew that there were too many of them that I wanted, that I had heard of before, for me to buy them individually. And so, yeah, after the headaches, that's when the terminology therapeutic grade oils finally meant something to me, because they were marked safe for internal use. And so that's how I became an oily person.
Alrighty, thank you so much for sharing. So it is my turn to share with everyone. And what you guys see on the screen is my gateway oil, Panaway. So there's so many things that I can share about my story, but the most important part is about 6 years ago, I was super sick and tired of being sick and tired. And so I had, from 2012 to 2015, had so many things happen to me. I started to have digestive issues. I started to have high blood pressure due to stress at work. I started to have hormonal issues. At the time, I was having my time in the month 25 days out of the month. I had body pain because I had been in 2 accidents in the span of 6 months, and I could never breathe my entire life. When Dana talks about how Dayton was, I was that child as well. We have another niece, Asia. She was born like me. All of us have allergies and a little bit of skin stuff, but there's one in the group of all of the siblings that is the worst, and I was that one. So I can never breathe my entire life whatsoever. And so I just gotten sick and tired of being sick and tired. And so I was searching, I was looking for things. And so I started with just some of the minor stuff in August of 2014. I started exercising again because I knew, even though I was working 60 to 80 hours sometimes due to emergencies, that I had to start exercising. Being obese was not helping me. So I walked a bridge in Mackinac without training. So that's 5 miles. And even knowing that I was going to bleed through my clothes that day because of my hormone issues. I did a boot camp in October in order to continue and get the habit of exercising and get some right eating habits. And I lost 20 pounds in 6 weeks in that boot camp. And then I started to buy herbs and tinctures of Dong Quai and female vitamins from Vitamin World and Vitamin Shop and Amazon. And I even threw in a couple of essential oils. I bought lavender to relax, and those essential oils that I bought from Amazon didn't work. So I had intended for essential oils not to be part of my story because they obviously didn't work. And a lot of the vitamins and supplements I was using weren't working very well either. But I was still searching for something. I just did not believe that when I talked to everyone else my age in their mid-30s, all of them had hormone issues. Most of the people in the 40s were getting body parts taken out. And all of them had no energy. And I just did not believe that that was the way that we were supposed to live. I thought that somewhere on this planet, there was something that was supposed to help us. So at that time, I have plenty of friends talking about, I'm diffusing, blah, 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 and it smells amazing. And I'm ignoring it because The essential oils I bought from Amazon did not work. So essential oils do not work. One of the things that I really need to work on, I obviously had mood issues because I had hormone issues. And so I decided to go to a home party where they were going to talk about these oil thingies. And I went there with the intention not to buy, to support one of my friends. And Panaway was placed on my body, and my life was never the same. I was like, this is different, and the world needs to know. And I booked my home party that Dana said that she came late to that day, even though I didn't have the money for my kit, because I was like, my sister, she's kind of into those oils things, I think, more than me. My mom's kind of into them. The world needs to know. So this amazing oil, it's just so soothing. You use it topically, you can put it on your neck. And when it was put on my neck that day, my life was radically changed. And I knew that these were different. I knew that they were worth the price tag. And I knew they were something that everyone needed to use on a daily basis. So I right away got my kit and fell in love with some of the other oils that are in there. So another thing that I used to do all the time, because I thought it was okay, as we move to the next one, is I used to get Bath and Body Works aromatherapy, because those scents that came in that energizing citrus fresh body wash and that relaxing eucalyptus lotion, I thought it was doing me good. But as I got into this educational journey, I found out that a lot of the toxins in those things were contributing to my hormone issues. So the oils did not cure me of my hormone issues. I actually had to have a myomectomy. But they told me when they took those fibroids out that they were going to come back. They told me that I was going to suffer hormone issues probably until I reached menopause. Now, my mom got to menopause late, so I'm like, I'm not gonna suffer like for the next 15 years. And so as I continue to research, I found out that I need to also take toxins out of my home. So I got rid of that Bath and Body Works. I got rid of the plugins. I was addicted to plugins. I was addicted to candles. I got rid of those, and that alleviated some of my asthma. And I started to use things like Citrus Fresh in my diffuser, because Citrus Fresh is just absolutely amazing for giving you energy. If you guys just think about like when you are having breakfast in the morning and you just open up some orange juice and that smell, that whiff hits you, that's what any of the citruses are going to do for you. And so Citrus Fresh is one that you definitely want to have on hand and put in your diffuser on a regular basis. And then we move to the next one. A lot of times we talk about, so Raven is super good. Raven is actually one that has helped a lot of us with our respiratory system. So it just has things in it like eucalyptus and peppermint. And as I stated earlier today, never could breathe my whole entire life. And I'm super excited about the fact now that I don't even suffer from asthma. I don't even suffer from allergies, because I've removed those toxins from my home and I've given myself things that will support my respiratory system. And then just moving to the last oil that I get to talk about, a lot of people drink lemon in their water, and that's one of the wonderful, beautiful things that we've talked about today, is how you can put 1 drop of lemon just in water, and you can get all of those detoxing benefits from it, as well as the uplifting as you have that scent. So that's the portion that I wanted to share with you guys today. With that, we are going to move on to Larissa, and she is going to share a little of her story of how she got started on her holistic journey, as well as the power of thieves.
Okay, can everybody hear me? Okay, so for my journey, it was a little bit different. One thing I definitely remember Dana making her laundry detergent in her basement. I remember that. But Dana was like on me about going natural, doing these natural things. And she would always talk to me about the oils, and I'm just like, nah, I don't want to spend the money, just like many of us. It was really expensive, kind of, and I was just like, no. And then she actually introduced me to the first oil, which was Purification. And I came to her and I told her about my son and how hyper and energetic he is. He's busy, 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 busy. I'm sure if y'all could see me, y'all saw him. He just left. But that was the first oil that she actually introduced to me. And I put it in his bath water, and kind of like how Dayton did when he had Peace and Calming. Purification calmed my son down. He went to sleep, and it was great. And so it really worked for him. So I was like, okay, maybe it is a thing to these oils. And so with my son, he is actually a thumb sucker. So I bought the kit, and it came with the Thieves oil. And he was in daycare, and he sucks his thumb a lot. So he was always getting congested. He was always getting colds. And so what I started doing after talking, getting more educated and talking with Dana, she said, you can rub this on the bottom of their feet. So I started diluting it for him because he was still small, but I would rub it on the bottom of his feet to help boost his immune system. And I, as well, started taking it. This isn't the Vitality, but just like she said, the Vitality bottles and the regular bottles are the same. But I started taking it internally in my tea, or just whenever people in my job and my office start getting sick. My office is like a big cesspool. So I definitely take this even extra when people are starting to get sick. And then with my son being a thumb sucker, him always getting sick, I was always worried about keeping his hands clean. I'm a little bit OCD, where I'm kind of like a germaphobe. So it's like when I'm at home in my own space, I know that it's clean, but going out places, I'm always worried. So that's where the Thieves sanitizer came in for us. So I like the Thieves sanitizer because, using regular sanitizer, it was toxic to him. It had alcohol in it. And I knew that once I put this stuff on his hands, he was eventually going to put his hands in his mouth. And so I was really worried and concerned about that. But with the Thieves hand sanitizer, because it's all natural, it's using peppermint oil and aloe and things like that, it made me feel a lot more comfortable with using it. And it was great. So I loved it, loved the sanitizer. I was happy I was able to get it in the new bottle. This is the new bottle if no one's ever seen it, because they were out of stock. But because I use so much of it, because I keep it in my car whenever I go to pump gas or I do anything, I'm always using that sanitizer as well. And then another kind of awesome Thieves product that I use is the Thieves spray. So if anybody knows me, they know I am a big foodie and I go out to eat all the time. So with us going to restaurants and things like that, I'm always worried about just the cleanliness of the tables and how they wipe them down. I would always notice that even though they would wipe the tables down, the rags and stuff that they use, it would smell nasty and disgusting. So I always like carrying this little spray bottle of Thieves. So whenever we would go out, especially with my son being so young, I always kind of just spray the table and spray the chairs and spray the area, especially even when we go on flights. I spray down our chairs and everything. So then it gives me a comfort where I know that the area is clean, the things are clean. So I use this spray bottle a lot, as well as the hand sanitizer whenever we either go to restaurants or if we're traveling, which we're not doing now, of course, because everything, but even with everything that's going on, I try to boost our immune system with the Thieves, and it really helps a lot. And
Thank you, Larissa. Appreciate you sharing. So for those of you that are like, why is that thing called Thieves? Because this is your first introduction. I just want to share right quick before we hop over to our next presenter, why it's called Thieves. So this blend was inspired by the legend of 15th century spice merchants. And they, during the plague of that time, would rob the dead and dying without getting the plague. And so they used different spices like cinnamon, clove, different things of that nature. And so this blend was inspired by that. And so when they were caught, the authorities at that time stated, if you share your recipe with us, we will not give you the death penalty. We will lower your sentence. So they shared the recipe. So there's different versions of it, of this legend, but it was crafted in that spirit and using what we believed was close to it and adding one additional thing. So if it was strong enough to get over another plague, I'm super comfortable with using it nowadays to help us. So that's how powerful it is in supporting your immune system. And that's why it's something that every person needs to have in their house right now. And with that transition, I'm going to turn it over to Renee. She's going to share a little bit about her story, and then she's going to share with us on a couple of oils that she loves.
Hey, everybody. Okay, so Digest, I didn't know about until I got in Young Living, but now that I know about it, it is like a good thing that I know about it, because it was like one of the reasons why I started Young Living, because my youngest daughter and my grandson have like a lot of digestive issues. I mean, I do too. They run in our family. So when I got in Young Living, it was just for them, to find our products. I didn't know that this was going to be in the kit or whatever. Then I started drinking it on a daily basis. Then I went to a conference or event when I first got in January in Baton Rouge. And then I found out about some other, digestive things or whatever that help you or whatever, like Essential Ease. And I got that for my daughter, and that helps her. But Digest on a daily basis, like in something that you like to drink, is like good. Like, I mean, I don't want to talk like on the other Zoom when they were like, okay, this is gonna turn into a poop conversation or whatever. But basically, you know what I'm saying? That's what it's good for. It really works your digestive and everything, your gut health. I say that instead of saying the other words or whatever. But yeah, it's very good. Like all the stuff that it has in there, like ginger. I've been like researching stuff like that for like years. The peppermint, all that stuff, I always used to drink ginger ale or whatever and stuff like that. I'm not saying that that's natural or anything, but it's good to like know that all the stuff that's in Digest is like good for your gut, and it's healthy and it's natural and stuff like that. So that's really why I like it or whatever, because it's good for my gut. So that's basically what I do every day. I drink it every day. Okay. Lavender. Why I love lavender. Let me tell you. Okay, see, I'm the type of person that I really like have problems relaxing. As you can see right now, I'm like fidgety or whatever and everything. This is the way I am. Like, it takes a lot for me to shut down at the end of the day or whatever. So lavender, I hate I'm out of it right now. I'm waiting on my order to come. Like, I just used the last of it on my grandson this weekend. When I say this is life right here, next to some other stuff. But this right here, like, relaxes me, like, calms me, like, like, I mean, I'm sure everybody probably like lavender. Like they say, it's good for all kinds of stuff. Like, I learned on one Zoom that it's good for like burns, stuff like that. It's not just good for, the smell, the aroma of it and everything that relax you. Is like good for so many things, like your skin, outer stuff, not just, aroma therapy or whatever. But I mean, I love it. It's the best thing to relax me amongst other things or whatever, but it's one of them. This is the thing I say, it relaxes me. So I wish I had it right now so I can relax right now. I was really uptight about this presentation, so yeah.
It's all good. So yeah, so just like the slide shows there, it's good for respiratory, cardiovascular, glandular, as well as your skin. So definitely is what we refer to as our Swiss Army knife. So now it comes back to me. And so again, we are talking about giving you guys an introduction mostly into plants and herbs, because that's what essential oils are, right? They're herbs that have been distilled down to their essences. But what you also do get when you start with a 90-day wellness plan, when you start with the Young Living family, is you also get an introduction to our supplement line. And so you also get 2 samples of our Ninja Red. So this is an amazing super fruit supplement. Most people have heard of goji berries. This is a similar base with a Ninja Wolfberry puree, and it's highly even more nutrient dense based on where it comes from. And in 1 week, we're actually going to do an entire class on that, so you can learn all of the details of it. But it also has other superfruits in it, like blueberry and aronia and sweet cherry and blueberry and pomegranate. And you can see all the benefits that it's going to have for you, such as it supports good eye health, low glycemic index, supports normal immune and liver function, great energy and strength. And again, it's rich in all of these antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, polyphenols, and flavonoids. And with that, we can just move. We know that a lot of people are here that are already part of our family, our holistic wellness family, and we appreciate you joining us. And we hope that you learned some tips. We hope that you learned some new things, and we hope that you learned the importance of using your Everyday Oils kit every single day. But for those of you that are not yet a part of this family, there are 2 ways for you to get started. So if you just want to dabble in one particular thing, you can purchase at a higher price just one particular oil. But what we try to do with people is put them on a holistic wellness journey and put them on a 90-day wellness plan. So just think, if you want to get healthy and you buy 1 piece of broccoli, it's not really going to change your life. So we don't usually recommend that people start that way. But if that's the only way you can get started, that is perfectly fine. You can start with 1 oil and build your collection and go there. It's just a little bit more expensive to do that. The way that most people get started, even if they have to save up to do so, again, I totally understand that. I did not have $200 in my bank account to get it the night that I learned about it, but I made sure to allocate the money out of my next check, is with a wholesale membership. So you can see the benefits there, that you will start out with 24% off, plus you can opt into a monthly wellness box plan where you can then accumulate even more off. And with that monthly wellness box plan, you're only required to spend about $50 per month. And then you can get free products. You get a whole bunch of other benefits. So all of the things that we talk about, the value of everything that we talked about is actually $465. But you can get that and get started with that, or one of our other kits that are now shown on the screen for $185. So a lot of people have been getting started with the Thieves Premium Starter Kit because they want that plant-based immune system wellness. Some people will start with the Essential Oils Kit that we just went through and then add Thieves on that next month, and then add Ninja on the following month. Well, the choice is up to you. So what you're going to do is, whomever invited you to this class, you're going to get back with them for additional details. Now, one thing that we would be remiss if we didn't mention is that you can also share this, right? So you had 5 people that were sharing their stories on here, and that may or may not be for you, but you have to just think about this. So I radically changed my life the first time that I learned about plants and what they could do for me, my family, and my body. But I also had to think about the fact, my little niece, Asia, that suffered like I did as a child, that I had to go to the hospital, and how many times I was afraid because I knew of all the toxins that she was experiencing. Sometimes being around people who were smoking, and I was worried that something would actually happen to her when she was in and out of the hospital when she was 3 and 4 years old. And I remember holding Dayton, my nephew that my sister mentioned. I remember holding him and looking at his skin and just thinking, man, he's got it just like me. And I wish that there was something that I could do for him. And so if I would have not shared with other people, my niece, who loves and makes sure that she tells me what her order needs to be, and my nephew that now has relief from all of his asthma and his allergies and his eczema, they would have never got touched if I didn't share. So it's not really about you when it comes to sharing. It's about who can you bless with the benefits and the healing power of toxic-free living and plants. So that's something you can always think about at a later time. And with that, that is the end of the presentation for today. We thank you so much for joining us. Again, if you have any questions, we have plenty of time in our schedule. And if you'd like to ask any specific questions, you can definitely unmute yourself and do that right now for us.
Tashina,
Yes, ma'am.
it's not a question. Okay, who was the one that spoke on Valor?
My sister, Dana.
Hi, Dana. Rhonda. Is Rhonda still on here? Hey. Okay, Rhonda. You could tell Rhonda a little about it, a little bit, because she came in late. I mean, if you don't mind, please.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Rhonda. How are you?
You can unmute yourself.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
I'm good. Thank you for being here with us.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
So for me, Valor is life. Like I had mentioned, for me, I'm a great like one-on-one person, but I get overwhelmed if it's like large gatherings or large groups. So I call Valor my liquid courage. So it's kind of like, it's a great grounding oil to help kind of relieve some of the nervous tension, and sometimes when I have anxious thoughts or anxious feelings. For whatever reason, my body kind of vibes off of Valor. So I love, love, love Valor. And actually, if you look up some of the different plants that are in Valor, they actually are very, very strong trees, ones that are very resilient to harsh weather and things like that. So if you think about that, that's some of the benefits that it's going to give to your nervous system and when it comes to your emotions. So Valor is one of my favorites. I love Valor. I can't not have Valor. I think I always have one in a pocket or a purse or somewhere where I can use that Valor.
So Bree has a question, and Bree, yes, that is a very great question. And a couple of us did answer it during when we were sharing, but we can definitely repeat that for you. And so the replay will be available of this. So I will drop that replay into the actual event afterwards. It'll be available on YouTube, so make sure you do watch it from the beginning. But the question is, why, when we go to the store, are there some oils that are listed as not for internal use? So that's one of the reasons why all of us love the company that we are representing, because at one point in time, 5 years ago, all of our oils were listed as aromatic, topical, and ingestible. The FDA came back to us and they said, well, that doesn't make any sense because you can't like rub blush on your face and eat it. So they made us make a different label for it. And so we have these white labels that are stated that are for internal use. And then we have a colored label that said it's not for internal use. Yet, if it is a actual food, lemon, peppermint, a blend of citrus, it doesn't matter what the label says, it's the same thing in the bottle. So there's plenty of times where I will spend to get the big bottle because it's a better value, and I will just use it how I want it. That is only true with the company that we represent, and that's why we love them, because many of us have been to the farm and we have touched the ground of where our oils have came from, and we have seen the distillation process right in front of our eyes, and we know the purity. And when it comes to any other company, we cannot guarantee that. So Dana has mentioned in her story before that was one of the things that she bothered her, because she was a 20-year user of Whole Foods essential oils, and she saw that there was organic and there was non-organic, and there was ones you could ingest and there was ones that you couldn't. And I was the same way. All of us get the sticker shock at first. When I first actually got my kit, I went back in my collection. I was like, well, maybe I should stretch it out. And then I found out that I had an oregano that I got from Amazon. I was like, maybe, I know it says it's not for internal use, but maybe I could use it. I put it in my mouth and it was nothing but chemicals. It did not taste anything like oregano. It was nothing but chemicals. And so if you see in a store a brand that has versions that are not for internal use, you have to also remember that when you put it on your skin, it's going to go into your bloodstream in 26 seconds. So you probably shouldn't be using it at all. Any other questions anyone has?
What about the CBD selection, the hemp oil?
So that would be an entirely separate class, and I have at least 5 videos that I've done in that. But it's the same standard. We partner with a farm that does all of the processing itself, and that is another area that please don't buy CBD from the gas station or from the video store. Like, that's not, there's nobody regulating that. So, but if you want to know the how to use it, what we have and everything, I can shoot you some videos on that for sure. And then Jacqueline was just stating that she had a similar issue with oils that were labeled not for internal use at Whole Foods. And then, yeah, so there's a CBD starter kit. Somebody threw that in the comments as well. So that's the most economical way to get an introduction. And in that CBD starter kit, you will get something for relaxation, something for energy, and something for pain relief. Any other comments or questions, guys?
I have a comment. I just want to say real quick, Larissa, you are awesome. Jocelyn, you are awesome. Renee, you are awesome. I really think you ladies did an amazing job tonight, and I enjoyed it. That's it.
Yeah. I also meant to say a comment. I forgot to add it in my little speech, but yes, stop going on Amazon. I went on Amazon one time right before I got my kit, once I tried the purification, and I was like, oh, I keep hearing about these thieves, and they sent me a bottle and it was called Theft, and it was not called Thieves. And so it was really funny because I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't order Theft, I put in Thieves. So don't buy the generics. And it was definitely said do not use internally, which is very important. It was quite a funny thing, and when I told everybody about it, it was hilarious, and I forgot to add that in. But yes, Thieves and generic stuff is definitely different. I try to explain to people about the difference from going to Whole Foods, because a lot of people do go to Whole Foods for their oils and stuff like that, and I'm like, it's really not the same. You really need to look into the purification of these oils and how pure they are, and where they're getting these oils from. What are they actually adding in it to stretch it? If it's like they mentioned, if it's lemon, why is it saying you can't take it internally? And I had a friend do that. I told her about Young Living and the oils, and she went on Amazon and she diffused some peppermint, and she was all like, I couldn't breathe, it was burning my eyes and everything else. So stop buying from Amazon. Don't buy from Whole Foods. Like, it really does make a difference. So do your research. That's my last comment that I have to say.
Thank you, everyone. So if there's nothing else, we will close this out for the night. And again, within about 30 minutes, if you hop back into the event, I will have the replay and a YouTube version for you guys. And then if you think of any questions later, feel free to drop them in there as well. Thank you again, everyone, for joining, and thank you, everyone, for sharing. Bye.